Yo, what is up, guys? Back with another scripting tutorial series. This is the second video, and today I'm going to dive into data types. And our next video will be variables because we need to know what data types are before we start making our variables. So, if you're wondering, here's what a data type is. So, let's make a new script in our server script storage where we left off last time, and let's name it data types. So, if you're wondering what data types are, well, we can actually look right here. So, in our workspace, our base plate, perfect. And we have all of these values on the side right here. We have our properties, but what their values are. So there are multiple different types of data types. There are Boolean values. There are number values, decimals, string values. Right here, this brick color, this is a string. This is a, look at this value type right here. Let's make it orange. This type right here, this is a string because that is like letters and a string basically. This is cast shadow. This is a Boolean values, true or false. See, doesn't cast shadows. And then these are more data types right here that Roblox configures for us. But we can, oh, that kind of looks nice. We have numbers right here, and basically data types are. We're gonna manipulate them in through our scripts. But you will see a big trend. You know, numbers, true or false. You know, these check marks and whatnot, and letters, these string values. So we're actually gonna manipulate that in our script. So let's make this back to normal. I actually kind of forgot what the color was. Grayish, and then what? Plastic. Something like that, bro. Who cares? Okay, let's make our first data type. So let's say local, or actually no. Before we do that, we did print statements last time. So let's say print, and when we run in our side of our right here string, when you run inside of our print, you'll see up here it will tell us string because this is a string value. To make a string value, we have to annotate it in these apostrophes, these double commas right here, and then we can type anything. And this is a string value. Take a look at that. This, whatever this is, actually, let's make something better. Hello world. See how Roblox will do that for you when you make a new script. So like if we press play, it'll print hello world. That's our string value. And we can mess around with this as well. So with the print statements, we can say print 5, number value. See that? Or true, Boolean value. See that? So let's print true. And look what's going to happen. It's printed out our Boolean value. Awesome. So here, let's write it down. So let's make our first. So print, hi, this is a script. Or actually, this is a string. Boom, this is a string. This is how we type. This is how letters. Our text, like in a text label, like for example, says like quest. That's a string value. If it's manipulated in a script, you know, that's a string value. That's what a string is. It strings things together. Print number value. Let's do 50 and 50. And then let's do our Boolean value, true. Actually, you know what? Let's do false. Look at that. Hi, this is a string 50, false. All of these data types are in here. So let's actually do this. Let's comment it. So if you do double dashes, you can write comments. Boolean. So these comments are for you. This is for you to understand your code. So when you come back to your scripts and things like that, because the computer will not actually run these lines of codes if they're commented out. So if we took this and then we toggled comment, we just commented out everything. You'll see how it indents like this, and then it looks like it's not part of the script anymore. Nothing will print because we told the computer skip this. Let's Control Z that. So you can write comments. Comments are so useful. Make sure to write comments in everything in your script. So we'll just say number val, and then right here, string value. Just so it gets in your head. When you write down comments of what your code actually does, it just gets in your head for the next time you come to your code, or you can just read these comments. You'll just understand what you wrote better because you're not going to remember every single line of code you wrote forever and ever. That's why we have comments, so we can come back and be like, oh yeah, this is what I did. Okay, nice. Yeah, this is what this does, and things like that. Next things next. We can actually reference like in our Explorer. So let's say print workspace. So it'll look right here into our workspace because this is a service Roblox provides us to us. So we can actually go in this workspace, and then you're gonna put a dot, and basically all these that come up are what are inside the workspace, the children of the workspace. So you'll see, or other properties as well, but these won't really matter. You won't use this as much. The All you have to know is that, actually no, not all you have to know, because these are useful. But for now, every child of the workspace will appear in this little frame right here where you can scroll through. So let's say workspace.baseplate. Boom. Now that's the base plate right here. And then now we can say dot name or something. Look, it's a string value. The name of it is a string value. It's going to print out the base plate in our right here. See that? Or we can print out the Boolean value of the cast shadow. Let's see how that's working. So workspace.baseplate.cast shadow. So let's print. Let's see if it's true or false. True. See that? So in your scripts, the main data types that you're going to manipulate are true, false, your booleans, which is true or false. Remember, boolean is true or false. Your numbers, like decimals and integers. And Roblox Lua U, in other languages, programming languages, decimals are called floats. And those are not like, they don't matter as much in Lua U as in other languages. Like in C++, you'd have to define this is a float instead of int. But here in Roblox Studio, numbers are applicable to everywhere. So we can say 50.5 and it'll print. But if you did that in C++, if you did cout 50.5 and you said it was an integer, which is a variable by the way, then it would give you an error. But in Roblox Lua U, it's very easy. It's very applicable and it's very accessible. Then we can also you can just mess around as much as you want. Hi, I'm a bool. It's not a bool value, but it's a string, but you said it was. Remember, in your code, everything that you say, whatever you write, is defined from the way you want. I hope that helps with data types, what they do, and how you can use them in your scripts. For now, we're just gonna print out data types because in the next video, I'm gonna teach you guys how to actually use these data types and how to assign them to variables and how to give them some value. Because in the past 2 videos, we haven't really done anything. We're just been printing out into the output, and we've been just telling the computer to, hey, return this back to us. But nothing's happening in our actual game. And in the next video, I'm gonna teach you guys how to actually start scripting a little bit and do some things in your game. I'm gonna actually, you know what? Let's do it right now. Okay, let's do it. Let's say our data types. So let's put a comment, and we're gonna say print true. It's our bool, and we're gonna say print string. This is our string value, and then we're gonna say print number, which is our number value. This can be anything. I keep saying 50, but we can say 10, we can say 5, whatever. Anything you want, number. I believe Roblox does have a limit, so if you just spam 0, you just spam it, I think the number gets too big, you get an error, yeah. It's too big for Roblox, that's like 5e to the 23rd or some shit like that. And then now let's make our first variable. Okay, what is a variable? Well, this is a variable, like local. Let's say value is equal to true. So I'm going to explain what each line of this literally means. So local, you're going to see this a lot. Local, and nobody really explains what local even means, but the language of Roblox uses local everywhere. Like you're going to use a lot of you're going to hear this. Man, I've been hearing local every single day of my life for the past year. So what local means is that it's the scope of the script is for this variable right here is inside this whole script. So in future references, like future videos, you'll kind of understand what I mean by this. But for now, if you have no knowledge, basically to define a variable, we have to say local first. Or actually, you don't have to in every case, but it's very safe. Like you're not going to just say value is equal to like 5 or something. Like you can write this, and that's fine. But that's not really accessible in the script, and you'll see why. But we have to write down local just like this, all lowercase. Value is equal to true, or whatever you want. Actually, we don't have to say equal to true. And what this really means is that anywhere inside a new code blocks inside the script, we can use this value because this is a global variable. This is a global value for this script. So, for example, we say when we write local value equals to true inside this script, anywhere inside this script, we can access this value variable, whatever this is equal to. But in other scripts, we wouldn't be able to because this is local to this script. And I'm pretty sure the reason why Roblox Studio does use local and not just like values equal to true is because I think it's faster, actually, if we do it like that. Something like that. Something with the... I'm not too completely sure. You can search it up exactly what local, like, on the nerd stuff is, like, what exactly local means. But local is what we use to define a variable, like, beforehand, just so we know it's for this. I'm pretty sure it's faster. It's better for performance if we do that, something like that. But the second thing is our name of our variable. Remember, if you do any math classes, a variable is what you define it, X, Y, Z. I can name this literally anything, but as long as there's a value it's assigned to, it's gonna be that. So this is, in what you're gonna do is when you do write your variables, you're going to make sure they're defined nice. So if I'm writing a Boolean value, for example, if I'm setting this variable equal to true or a number, right? If I set it to number and I say bool val, this wouldn't make any sense in the script. This is gonna mess with my head when I read it, like, because 50 is not a bool value. But if I would say wait time, something like that, right? Like wait time until like intermission or for your game, or number, not even just number value is equal to 50. And if we print out number val, because now we can do that, now we've defined number value, look what happens in the script, 50. That makes everything so much easier. The reason being, instead of hard coding everything, you can use this variable over and over in your future parts of your script when you reference something. So for example, if I'm going to keep referencing the time it is, or a certain timer later in the scripts over and over, it's best to just make a variable at the top and manipulate this same variable instead of making new ones. Also, if your script is using like a variable like or a certain timer, for example, this is an example by the way, I hope that you can get this, but if your script is using like a certain variable of what it's equal to, right? When you access that later and you define it as something else, but oh, it's the same thing. No, because now you're running your script like you're confusing the computer. I hope I'm not confusing you, but basically a variable is something we define. So we write our name down and then we set it equal to whatever you want. We can set it as any of these data types. We can say string. We can now we print down let's change this to string variable, and then string variable. Also, if you try to access the number variable, it's gone because you got rid of it. But look at the string variable, string, because that's what it's equal to. It's gonna print out whatever this is equal to. If I say I am a string, print me out, something like that, look what's gonna happen. I am a string, print me out. You see that? Basically, I hope you guys can understand that a variable is whatever you want it to be, but the name of it is also whatever you want it to be. This could be literally X, Z, Y, something like that, and then I can call this, but it's a string value, but it's not actually X, Z, Y. Well, this could be it, but it's a variable. It holds no weight unless the weight we give it. I don't want to keep complicating that, but literally this variable, we say local whatever, so you write name whatever. You can call this cheeseburger, it doesn't matter. The code or the computer will run it as this value right here, so cheeseburger, and we stored this value inside cheeseburger. And now if we print cheeseburger, we can say I am delicious, something like that. Okay, and look, we print it out, it's I am delicious. And you can get creative with this. You can do whatever you want. I can say local number of apples, whatever, is equal to 5. And I can print that as well. And basically, your variables are whatever you want them to be. Make sure the names of them are related to whatever the value is. So if I'm saying local like value or is on, for example, like if a light switch is on in the game, something like that, I'm not going to put it as a number. I'm going to put that as a true or false, because we're going to see if it's on or not. You know what I'm saying? It's you be smart with your variable namings, but you guys are smart. I hope you know what, you're not going to name something very important, cheeseburger, some sort of variable that controls your whole game, unless you want to. I mean, I know some people in my coding classes who named all their functions fried chicken or something like that, and he was so good at his code. So I was like, whatever works for you. But you can also say we can define this in the scope. We can say local. We can say string value, and we can it's just redundant now, but yeah, I am a string, and yeah, string. And guess what? If you print out string value, what's it gonna print out? Whatever the value of it is equal to. And I hope that really helps. I mean, there's not much to it. These are variables. Set them to whatever. These don't control anything yet in our game because we haven't actually gotten to big parts of the game. But we can also do this as well. In the next couple tutorials, you will be configuring your game with the stuff I'm going to tell you guys how to do and show you. But we can also do this as well. We can make a variable and reference it to anything inside of here. So I can say like replicated storage, for example, on this service right here. Is replicated storage is equal to game, because we use game, because we're getting all the services, dot replicated storage. And then I can reference replicated storage, and then anything inside replicated storage, for example, we put a folder in there, we can reference it and from this variable. So replicated storage dot folder, or should we add that on the code? Sorry. Dot folder. And it's this folder right here. We can change the name of it to I am a variable. It's not a variable, but we can name it whatever we want. And then I can say I am a variable. Look, it's this folder right here, and we can look whatever it's in here through this. That's insane. Isn't that crazy? You can make this variable equal to here, and then you can make a new variable. Even then, you can make a new variable. You can get creative with it. I can say variable folder or something is equal to replicated storage, this variable right here, dot I am a variable. Look at that. So now we simplified our code. Now we simplified our variables. Instead of saying local variable folder is equal to game dot replicated storage dot I am a variable, we just defined replicated storage one time, and then we just put, oh, I spelled it wrong, God. And then we just made another local variable equal to whatever it's inside of the replicated storage. And you can do literally, I want you guys for today's coding challenge, I want you guys to just make as many variables, make 30 variables, and just mess around in the game. Literally put local server storage is equal to game.server storage, and then inside of server storage, put a bool value, put whatever you want in here, and then I'm gonna print out server storage dot value, this bool value, and I turned it on, and look what's happening. Now with the fuck, dot value. Oh, I printed out the name. Did I print out the name? Oh, I printed out the name. Sorry. Yeah, because the name of it is value. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that was a string, but I wanted the bool value. Look at that. I got the bool value now from it. It's true. It's on. See that? You can access in your scripts anywhere in your game with variables. You didn't even have to do. Sometimes you didn't have to do variables. I can do this. Game.replicated storage. Dot. This is annoying to read, to be honest. When you put variables, it's very, very, very what's it called? Organized and neat. But I can do that, and then it's gonna just print out the name of that I am a variable. That's a string value, by the way. So I hope that showed you guys exactly what variables and data types are. I want you guys to just mess around with data types and variables. Just try to predict what you think it's gonna print out. For example, so make something in literally anywhere you want. Replicated storage. Put some values in there. Turn on some stuff. Turn off some stuff. Reference it and be like, okay, is this gonna print out a true value, a number, a string, whatever? And if you get it right, test yourself. Try to get 5 out of 5 or 10 out of 10 right, if you know what I'm saying. I hope you guys understand what variables are. They're super useful. You can use them if you are serious about game scripting, coding, whatever. You're gonna use variables for the rest of your career. Variables just define, so useful. They define everything. You're gonna, bro. When you open up a script, when you get good at scripting, you're gonna open scripting to be doing this. Local, replicated storage is equal to, game dot replicated storage, local server storage. You're gonna be like that. You're just making all your variables right away and things like that. I'm gonna actually name this variables. And yeah, but remember, we haven't actually given these any real weight yet. We kind of just defined them in the script, and then they don't really do anything to our game besides print out back to us. But at the end of this series, I definitely want to try to get you guys to make some sort of cool system in your game, like some intermission round based, or coin spawning in randomly, things like that. Just something simple from this, and then our advanced tutorial is gonna take your games up a notch, and then you're gonna mix everything all together, and you guys are gonna make something awesome, and you're gonna be proud of it. But yeah, I hope that was simple enough. I know I talk fast, I'm a yapper, but really what data types are just these, these three main variables. They're not variables, but they're values, and we can control them, and we can make variables based on these three data types, and from there we can reference these variables, we can manipulate these variables. Even then, number of apples right here is equal to 3, and now we print out number of apples. We can change the value of it wherever you want. It's not like it's just indefinite, because look at this. Remember, it runs line by line. So let's get rid of these actually. So okay, what do you guys think is gonna happen if you say print number of apples, and the computer ran like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, local number of apples is equal to 5. Okay, it's defined as 5. So the client defined it as 5, not client, us, the coder. Okay, 5. This is empty. 6. Oh, print out number of apples. Okay, I'm gonna print out 5 because that's what it was previously defined as. He's gonna print out 5. Number of apples is equal to 3. Okay, number of apples is variable is now equal to 3. Print out number of apples. Look at that, 5 and 3. So if you define number of apples is equal to 5, and then you make it 3, but then you print it out afterwards, it's going to print out 3. And if I put that print beforehand, it won't print out 3. But yeah, we can define the variable and then change the value of it later on in the script as well. We can just keep doing that cheeseburger, because remember, we don't have to say local anymore because we already defined it as globally in this code. So we can cheeseburger is equal to, fuck it, we can make it a bool value if we want, and then we'll print out cheeseburger. And because we made it a bool value before the script got to it, look at that, now it's a boolean value instead. You know? So you can mess around with it. You can say, okay, well, let's number of apples is equal to false. And now we print out number of apples. Look what happens to the number of apples. False instead of 3 or 5. Isn't that crazy? And that's very useful. You're gonna use that in your games too. You're gonna redefine some variables, like on certain occasions. Like if this is if something else is true, then this becomes that or whatever. But yeah, variables are something, they're so applicable, they're so accessible. You can mess with them. You can define them as you want. You can define them as you need. You can mess with them as you want, and you can mess with the values as you need in your game. And so yeah, I just want you guys to mess around with your data types, your variables. Just mess around with printing them out. What do you predict what they're gonna print out? And in the next video, we're gonna be diving into. I think we'll do if statements next time. Yeah.